Hello, this is Bonnie Goss with Skellig Automation, and today I'm going to give you an introduction to manufacturing execution systems, or the MES. So, what is an MES? A manufacturing execution system is a software solution that connects your plant floor to your ERP system. In the life sciences, one of the most important benefits of this is that it completely eliminates the need for a paper batch record. There are a lot of other things that an MES does, but in our presentation today, I'm mostly going to be focused on how an MES tends to be used in the life sciences. Basically, an MES lets manufacturers focus on making their products by automatically capturing data that proves that these products are made well whenever they're brought up before a regulatory agency. One of the benefits of an MES is that you can put into the MES your most up to date SOPs and orders of execution. So long gone are the days of printing out an SOP and keeping it at your desk for a year and then hoping that the version is still the same, or ending up with exceptions when it comes time for quality assessment. Again, it does allow you to completely digitize your batch records, which completely eliminates manual entry. It allows for material and equipment tracking throughout the life of your process. And it also helps you with quality enforcement and something called right first time, which we'll go into later. There are two types of MES. You have the MES that fits within the traditional automation stack. You also have MES that are quote unquote next gen MES. Next gen MES utilizes Industry 4.0 tech. So it will use composable tech in a united namespace architecture that's enabled by MQTT, other things like that. If you want to learn more about the UNS architecture, I definitely suggest that you check out our videos by Amy Williams, who talks a lot about it. I should say that this introduction mostly applies to both types of MES. There isn't a ton of difference in the way it actually gets applied, but I just thought that I should note that. Here are some MES acronyms that you'll encounter when you're learning about them. Everything from batch records to different systems that the MES may interface with. Feel free to pause this slide as needed. So you may be wondering, where does an MES fit in within the plant architecture? The simple answer is that it's between your plant floor and your ERP system. Your plant floor includes things like sensors that may be on your tanks or whatever equipment that you're using. Includes your process control system or any PLCs that you may have. It includes your SCADA system. Anything that's on the plant floor is on that bottom level. Then your MES connects to the ERP system on the business side. Now we're going to go through the core functions of MES in the life sciences. I said earlier, there are more functions of an MES that you may see in other industries, but life sciences tends to be batch based. So a lot of the functions for an MES don't necessarily apply. Some of this may include labor tracking, maybe material tracking and optimization. It may involve analyzing your performance metrics, such as your yield, downtime, and overall equipment effectiveness, and help with data collection. Life sciences, as I said earlier, one of the biggest things that you do with an MES is eliminate your paper batch record. You also include up to date SOPs and orders of execution in the system so that no one makes common mistakes as a result of using the wrong version of an SOP or skipping a step. It also allows for right first time, or RFT. RFT is simply a measurement of how efficient and accurate your process is by determining what percentage of your product is correctly delivered without any defects the first time that it's produced. Review by exception means that instead of combing through every piece of data whenever you're doing your quality reviews, the system can flag exceptions and then you can review that way instead. It saves a ton of time. So allows for equipment tracking throughout each batch. On this slide and the next one, we have an example of setup instructions within an MES that you might find at the beginning of a recipe with an optional cleaning instruction that depends on whether or not the unit was already clean when you started. It begins with a material check, meaning that you're checking that your material is available before starting your batch. You do an equipment state check, where your MES system checks that the tank is actually available and clean or in need of cleaning. And then you go into valve setup, which is where your operator sets up your valves alongside the current version of the SOP. Where operators used to perform calculations, the MES system now does this for you, but that does require some custom updates to the system. Highly customized and controlled processes will result in highly customized and controlled MES systems. Continuing with our example, once the operator has set up the valve, then we can load the batch ID from the ERP. We load the batch. The MES will read your clean data. From the historian, they'll pull the purified water consumption and clean time, and then the MES will read your buffer makeup. From the historian, this may involve reading the consumption and goods receipts, and from the OPC, your current hold time data. It should be noted that the MES doesn't always drive this process. Sometimes the DCS does. In the example shown, it's tightly coupled, but industry-wide, it's going to be client-specific. This is just one example of a methodology, and there are pros and cons to every style of integration. So now that we've gone over what an MES does, let's talk about the pros and cons. I always like to start with the cons. So why not MES? The fact of the matter is, an MES isn't a perfect solution. The initial cost can be extremely high. Between licensing, the software and hardware that you need, setting up your infrastructure, personnel, customization to your organizational needs, future scaling, and acquiring the right resources, it can cost a lot to begin. And integration with your current system and data flow can be kind of complicated, and it definitely requires specialized resources if you want to actually succeed in your installation. If you don't have a clearly defined batch record already, then you're not ready for an MES, and you have a few steps to take before you can get started in implementing one. Another reason to not implement an MES is, frankly, people hate change, and there is a huge learning curve for users. Buy-in is going to be needed at all levels of your organization. It can't just be something that management pushes and then operators don't use. It has a major effect on your process. Also, anyone who's worked in older plants knows inertia with existing mindsets can be really difficult to overcome, especially with new technology. Another reason is that perhaps your data security and storage is still immature. You don't have a great data security strategy, or you don't know where you're going to store all the data that an MES will produce. You need to have a robust strategy and know exactly where your data is going to be stored and how. Another reason is that a lot of MESs require vendor lock-in. Your mileage may vary here. It's going to depend vendor to vendor, and there is a bit of a difference here between the traditional stack and the 4.0 or next gen MES. Next gen MESs tend to be more independent. If you decide that you don't like your current MES, changing can be expensive and time consuming. There are ongoing costs with an MES. Some of these may include maintenance and upgrades, and also making sure that you have the right people who can service the MES. Finally, system reliability. Troubleshooting issues can be complex and also require those specialized resources. And because the MES hooks into so many other systems, that multiple system integration means there are more opportunities for failure. So now that I've brought the mood down, why yes for an MES? The fact of the matter is, there is going to be pro and con list for any system that you're putting into your site. MES is no different. And for some sites, the pros of an MES vastly outweigh the con list. One of these is that when people hear MES, they hear paperless, and there is a massive push for paperless technology within manufacturing sites across all industries. This has been going on for years. But going paperless is just one part of it. And MES enables, as we've said before, the elimination of your paper batch records. That eliminates a lot of chances to make mistakes by the operators on the floor. It also helps during audit time for quality. It helps all kinds of things. All of the problems that are enabled specifically by having a paper batch record are eliminated through use of the MES. And for some sites, this can be a significant financial boon. It allows for review by exception, which eliminates a lot of data review time and validation time. It allows for automatic data transfer and traceability. This is something that you often see in process control systems too. As we stated before, it directly references your current SOPs, which completely eliminates any defects caused by someone using an incorrect SOP or just anything that's out of date, and also right first time. With quality management, the traceability of materials can make audits better for everyone and also help with your performance metrics. And it also can help you enforce your quality standards on the floor. It also enables true data accessibility by eliminating your paper batch record. All of that batch data is digitized and available for making business decisions. And you no longer have to have a crazy Excel sheet where you're doing all of your calculations. The MES can take care of those calculations for you. It also can vastly increase your site efficiency. It enforces your order of operations. You can use it to optimize your workflows and throughput through the data that it gives you. And ultimately, it can significantly reduce your plant downtime. So, if you decide to use an MES, what should you consider whenever you're choosing one? Some of these may seem pretty obvious. What hardware components do you need to support MES on your plant floor? What software components will you need? And how does the chosen MES, depending on what vendor you choose, how does that integrate with the systems that you already have on site? How does it connect with your ERP, or does that particular MES have a good connection with your ERP? How does it connect with your SCADA or DCS? The implementation project itself involves a lot of planning, resources, and creation of timelines. The project won't be over quickly. This is a significant time investment. Another consideration is the scalability of the MES that you choose. How well does it fit with your process? Have you selected the correct MES for your specific needs? The logistics of change management, as anyone knows, are complicated and include a lot of steps. And one you definitely can't forget is personnel training. Another consideration is that you need to have a good look at your data strategy and your cybersecurity policies. If you're not ready, then there are some steps that you may want to take before you even consider starting this project. So, who are the vendors? There are a lot of MES vendors. This is just a small selection of them, and this is a blend of next gen and traditional MES. These are not in any particular order, and we're definitely not endorsing one over the other. Which MES you choose, as we've just said, is determined by what you need for your process. How well does it fit with what you already have if you don't want to just rip everything out and start over? You have Tulip, Emerson Kincaid, you have PassX and Factory Talk by Rockwell, all the way down to Oracle Cloud Manufacturing and Siemens Op Center Execution. These are just a few. Here at Skellig Automation, we are a vendor agnostic solutions provider. This means that we make our recommendation custom tailored to your site's individual needs without involving sales quotas, only solutions that you actually need that fit your process and not the other way around. Choosing an MES, as you've seen during this presentation, is a complicated endeavor. It can also be expensive and take a really long time. So, whenever you plan your project, you definitely want to get it right. At Skellig, we offer a free consultation to get your site started if you're interested in hearing about an MES. So just email us at info@skellig.com and we can get you set up. That's my introduction to manufacturing execution systems. I really appreciate your attention. Like and subscribe if you found this presentation to be useful. And don't forget, if you are interested in learning more about MES, don't hesitate to send us an email or even comment below, and we can get in touch with you. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.